welcome to Taiwan Mandarin with Mavis. Today I want to share some real tips for learning a new language from my own experience of moving to the US and picking up English at the age of 13 and also studying abroad in an intensive Japanese language program in Tokyo after college. Whether you're just starting out or feeling stuck, these are the things that made a real difference for me. My first tip is don't be afraid or shy to speak the language, even if you're just beginning. You'll probably make mistakes. I definitely did, but honestly, that's how you learn. I was enrolled in a language school for about half a year in Tokyo before moving on to study in a more intensive Japanese language program at a college there. The students at the language school came from all over the world, and not everyone was fluent in English. And even with our very limited Japanese at the time, we somehow managed to get our ideas across. It was simple, awkward, but it worked. And honestly, I feel like I learned the most during that first half year because we were kind of forced to use Japanese in our everyday conversations. And after that, I went on to study in a prestigious Japanese language program at one of Tokyo's top universities. I took a placement test and was placed in the advanced level, which I thought would help me improve even more quickly, but somehow I ended up feeling I was falling behind my own expectations. So why? Because most of my classmates were exchange students from top universities around the world, and most of them were fluent in English. So whenever we were chatting and didn't know how to say something in Japanese, we just switched to English. It felt natural, but also meant that I wasn't using Japanese as much anymore, not like I did in the language school. Actually, I feel like I was speaking more English than Japanese during that program. So what I learned is don't aim for perfect grammar. Just speak, even if it's just one sentence a day. The more you use the language, even imperfectly, the more you grow. And when you speak with native speakers, you get real feedback in real time. And honestly, they won't laugh at you. They're usually impressed and happy you're trying. So that was my first tip. Speak the language even when you're just starting. Now let's talk about something else that I think a lot of learners worry about, especially adults. My second tip is it's okay to have an accent. Most of us start learning a second language when we're older, whether it's in school or out of personal interest. And by that age, our brains use a different part to learn language than the way children do. And here's the reminder you might need. You might never lose your accent, and that is completely okay. After a certain point, it's just harder to sound native, and we have to accept that. And here's the thing, language learning is about communication, not perfection. If you can express yourself clearly and connect with people, that's success. Look at English or Spanish. There are so many kinds of accents, and each one of them reflects one's background, and each of them has its own beauty. Don't let the fear of sounding foreign stop you from trying or speaking. Sometimes my Taiwanese family would ask me about certain words in English, and they would try their best to pronounce them, but sometimes they still miss it a little. And I always tell them, it's okay if you don't speak 100% like a native. As long as you get your ideas across, you're good. Don't stress yourself out. Even if you can pronounce TH in thank you and you say thank you, but guess what? People still understand you're expressing gratitude, and that's what truly matters in language, connection. So far, we've talked about speaking early and embracing your accent, two of the most powerful things you can do as a language learner. Here comes my third tip. Look things up when you're uncertain. Don't just skip over it. I have to say, if you're learning a new language today, you are actually really lucky. There are so many tools and resources at your fingertips as long as there's Wi-Fi. Back in my time when I was learning English, we had dial-up internet. Looking something up online wasn't even part of our study routine. At first, I used a paperback Chinese-English dictionary, and later on, I was fortunate enough to get an electronic dictionary. It probably wasn't even up to date, but it was already an upgrade. So every time when I came across a word I didn't know, I would try to look it up right away. And honestly, when you took that moment to proactively look something up, it really sticks. I still remember I was trying to sing along to Smash Mouth's Walking on the Sun during my first year in the US. I had a lyric sheet right in front of me, and I swear I had to look up almost every single word. Because I worked through it line by line, I memorized it, And even today, almost 30 years later, I can still recite the lyrics word for word. This is a love attack. I know when our bed is back. It's just like any fact. Every track's before impact. And just like fashion, it's a passion corner within a hit. You gotta go still comment by it just to say it in the play. One funny thing from that time, there was the word crack in the lyrics, and my dictionary at the time told me it meant a fracture, which made zero sense in the lyrics. And I didn't realize what crack meant in that context until years later. So if you're learning a language now, take advantage of the age you're living in. You've got apps, voice input, example sentences, native audio, and me, all of it. Look things up. You'll remember better and you'll learn faster. Last but not least, another important tip I have for you is ask questions, even if they seem simple or silly. A lot of us might feel shy or we're afraid that we might look dumb asking a question that seems so obvious. But honestly, there's no such thing as a stupid question when you are learning a new language. Think about it. How are you supposed to know how to say something naturally if you don't ask? You can't just guess your way through everything. I remember back in the first year when I was in the US, one day I was walking home after school and I ran into a classmate. She was so nice. She smiled and said, "Hey Mavis, what's up?" I kind of understood that what's up probably meant something like, "How are you?" But in that moment, my brain flipped through my mental dictionary, which at the time was 100% textbook English. And all I could come up with was, "I'm fine, thank you." She gave me this awkward facial expression, not mean, but just confused. And in that moment, I knew that it was probably not the right response. So the second when I went back to my dorm room, I went to my friend who moved to the US a couple years earlier than I did. And I asked, when someone says, "What's up?" what am I actually supposed to say? It might sound like a dumb question, but that was the exact question I had to ask. That's when I found out when someone says, "What's up?" you don't respond with, "I'm fine, thank you." You say nothing or not much, or if you've got something going on, you share it. If I hadn't asked that stupid question, it might have taken me way longer to figure it out. So ask. Ask early, ask often. That's how you learn the real stuff. So to quickly recap, here are 4 tips I share with you today, all based on my own personal experience learning languages over the years. Speak early and often, even if you're just a total beginner. That's how you grow. It's okay to have an accent. Don't chase perfection. Just focus on connecting. Look things up right away. Curiosity helps locking new vocabulary. And finally, ask questions. Even if they seem basic, they're often the most important. Language learning takes time, and you'll probably feel stuck or awkward at times. Trust me, I've been there. But every small effort adds up. Even those cringe moments or stupid questions are part of how we improve. Be patient, stay curious, and most importantly, keep using the language. You are doing better than you think. If this video helped you or gave you a little encouragement today, feel free to give it a like or share it with someone who's learning a language too. And as always, please drop your questions in the comments. I make sure that I read and respond to all of them. Or just tell me what's a funny or awkward moments you've had while learning a new language. I love to hear them. We've all been there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again. Bye, 下次见。